Judas and the Black Messiah. Judas and the Black Messiah, which is debuting on HBO Max on February 12th, 2021, is a movie which is devastatingly entertaining while informing, while bringing you angst, is Judas and the Black Messiah, right?
Right.
Let's go through the cast first.
Starring, and before we get to the cast, can I say I have been waiting for this movie for like years. Like when they announced it, even before they mentioned the casting, I'm like, I have to see that film. It's going to be a great film, and
It
is a great film. Okay, so starring Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, Dominique Fishback. We reviewed Dominique Fishback during the Deuces.
That's right, she was on Deuces.
And we said she was a breakout star on the Deuces on HBO because her acting was on point then. So when I learned that she was going to be in this film, because we already know that Lakeith Stanfield and David Kaluuya.
Tanya, that is the same guy from Get Out. He put on about 40 pounds.
Yes.
To play this role.
That's dedication.
And that is dedication. And that's why I'm saying
dedication.
That if they snub this film, right?
Well, didn't the
Golden Globes gave a nomination to the closing song. Right?
To her. Right.
To her.
Right.
You know, if they snub this film, it's going. I'm talking about the other award shows. If they snub this film, well, we're going to get into it. Sit back, relax, because we're going to break this film down without bringing out spoilers. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so we said Daniel Kaluuya, right? He plays Fred Hampton. Lakeith Stanfield plays William O'Neill. Dominique Fishback plays Deborah Johnson, right? And then also starring Jesse Plemons, Ashton Sanders.
Now, Jesse Plemons, you're going to end up hating him.
Who plays
You're
Mitchell.
going to hate him by the end of the film. I'm telling you, go ahead.
Well, during the credits, right? When the movie was beginning, and when I saw Ashton Sanders' name, because we reviewed him, he's another breakout star.
Yeah.
I was like, this is gonna be good, right? So Ashton Sanders plays Larry Robertson. Algie Smith, he plays Jack Winters, and we know him from the New Edition film, and he's a really good actor. So when we saw, that he was gonna be in it too, so I'm like reading the credits, I'm like, okay. Because we already knew about Daniel Kaluuya and then Lakeith Stanfield and Dominique Fishback. But once I saw the names of the other actors that I just named, I said, okay, this is going to be good. Dominique Thorne is in it. Jermaine Fowler is in it. Terrell Hill is in it. Little Rail. How could I mess up his name? Little Rail is also in the film. Daryl Brick Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long.
It's like
Well, you gotta mention him because he plays J. Edgar Hoover.
Oh, is it Robert Longstreet?
Martin Sheen.
Oh, wait, okay. Why don't they have him on here? Yes, there he is. Yeah, Martin Sheen. He does play J. Edgar Hoover.
Right.
And yeah.
So, let me go back down and look at the list. Let me see, who am I looking for right quick to talk about? Oh, Algie Smith plays a pivotal role in the film also. Yeah. He shows you when a person gets fed up, they're fed up. Okay.
Dominique Thorne, can't leave her out. Judy Harmon, the other female.
That's right. When you're fed up, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So look, the synopsis of the film, based in Chicago, a self-help organization must battle crooked police and the federal government to be free. That's what it is. In the meantime, now, this film is full of so much information. First of all, the film is entertaining, right? Okay. But it's bringing a lot of information, and at the same time, depending on what your stance is on the Black Panther Party, on Malcolm X, the Black Panther Party, being black, American black, all that, will set your pace on what you think and believe about the film as a whole, right? As you're watching it, right? Shaka King directed, and he co-wrote the screenplay with Will Burson, right? If you really want to know what was actually going on, because Fred Hampton's girlfriend, wife, I'm just gonna call her his wife, is a consultant on the film. So this isn't something where you're walking in and this is not going to be true to fact, because she was there during most of the happenings that took place. She was there. And so they break out and they tell this story to you, right?
You're looking at
and
18 months for the stolen car.
It's just an incredible piece. First of all, you find out that at the end, which you're not going to give any spoilers, see. You know, everybody knows, whoever has seen the story. If you watched what's the film? The Trial of the Chicago 7 on Netflix, right? The Trial of the Chicago 7. You should watch that film before this film comes out on February 12th, because what happens to Fred Hampton happens during the same time as the Trial of the Chicago 7, right? And so you should watch that film, because what happens to him is referenced, because he was in the courtroom every day, fighting for his fellow comrade, right, who was unjustly arrested for inciting a riot, and all he did was come to give a speech, and he was out, but they picked him up, and they were planning on trying to give all of the people, originally it was Chicago 8, and he got dropped out because you'll watch the film, right? So he was in the courtroom every day until what happens to Fred Hampton happens, right? Mm-hmm. The film goes into detail of how everyone's heard about them shooting up the apartment he was in, but they don't tell you, in any of the documentaries of the past, they don't tell you how they made sure that Fred Hampton was dead. Now so the film right there brings it to you, straight, no chaser.
Right.
Straight, no chaser on the Chicago Police Department.
Right.
You know, during that time period, straight, no chaser.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Fred Hampton had an uncanny way of being able to bring different factions together. This is what the film shows you, right? Now, if the factions stuck together, that's a different story.
Right.
But he had a way of bringing them together to move forward, and that's what they were afraid of.
Right.
They were afraid of, J. Edgar Hoover was afraid of creating a black messiah. Now, let's break this down, because everyone knows that's in the COINTELPRO papers, right? That J. Edgar Hoover says that they're trying to stop the black messiah from moving the black people along, right? So, you know, that's why they were hard on Malcolm X, they were hard on Martin Luther King, they were hard on Medgar Evers, they were hard on any other black leadership that had a way of moving the people. So if you say that you want to stop the black messiah, what are you actually saying? When they was totally oblivious of this, or maybe they weren't. What are you actually saying about yourself? If he is if you're trying to stop a black messiah, then what are you saying about yourself? Who are you relative to the black messiah?
He's the devil.
Right. I mean, like, let's put this together. Like, if you're trying to stop the Black Messiah, you stopped King, you stopped Medgar Evers, you stopped Malcolm X, you stopped plenty of others. A lot of the African leaders that were for Pan-African, the real Pan-Africanism, were assassinated around the same time that Martin Luther King was assassinated. And you know, some people say that it was the CIA, right? Some people say it was the CIA, right? So what are you saying about yourself? So there's a lot of, I'm just gonna pull out some things, but I'm not going to give the plot line to the film because February 12th you have to see this film. This film is a tour de force.
It is.
It will have you gripped from the very beginning. It has Afromance in it. Not only does it have the struggle, but it has Afromance and how love comes about, right? What you gotta say?
Produced. So the film was produced by Charles D. King, Ryan Coogler, and Shaka King. Right. Again, I was like excited, looking forward to seeing this film, and then the doggone pandemic happened, and I was so happy. Well, you will still be able to see this in the theaters, but I was happy when they announced also that we would be able to see it on HBO Max. And honestly, that's the reason why we picked up HBO Max. And so, seeing this film, I felt the same emotion that I felt. I've seen plenty of with biofilms, right? But I felt the same emotion that I did when I was in the theater and I saw X, right? So the writing was just powerful. Like Daniel Kaluuya, I felt like I was looking at Fred Hampton. Like he embodied Fred Hampton, right? And like you said, he even put on weight. He was dedicated to the role. He was real dedicated, right? And it's just the acting, like with him and Lakeith Stanfield. How many scenes did? I mean, I'm like, can they not see how he really feels? Because Lakeith Stanfield, like, although his mouth was saying one thing, the acting in his eyes said another thing, right? So the acting was superb, and I was so invested. Like when the film, like as it's going along, I'm like, oh my gosh! Even though we know what the outcome is, you become so engrossed in the film. Like I'm sitting there, like just crying, and I'm like, although I know what the ending is gonna be, but it's just like you just see all of like the heart and soul that Fred Hampton, as well as all the other Panthers, invested in their organization and how much they love their community. Yeah, they love it, right? And then they got together with like Fred Hampton, like you said, he brought in people from other groups, right? And it was just about a movement bringing people together. And Lakeith Stanfield, what I love about it is you can tell that he was torn, right? So his character was the tortured character for me, right? Because he had, you'll see the film, and I'm sure most of you know the history, but although this is something that he felt he had to do to save himself, but on the other hand, you can tell that he was beginning to build a bond, right, with Fred Hampton as well as the other members. So you can see how his character was tortured. And then I love the love story between Fred Hampton and his wife, Deborah, right? So you have like all of this going on, and then you have a love story, and then it's about community. And you know, we don't hold nothing back. I'm getting a warning saying, heads up, we detect copyright, right, audio and video on your stream. And there's no stream may be temporarily blocked. Oh.
they did this with 76 Days,
Right.
which was the film on the quarantine that happened in Wuhan,
Right.
right? Obviously, this film, none of the other films that we put up, none of the other things that we put up today
Right.
said anything. I didn't get any warning about
Right.
that at all. But as soon as I put this film up about Judas and the Black Messiah, all of a
Right.
sudden I get this warning
Right.
about it being blocked. See, we don't
Still
hold
threatened by him in death.
because of the fact that the film brings you more than just. It brings you more than just a fictitious story. It's
Right.
well researched.
Right.
That's what I like about this film.
Right.
It's well researched.
Right.
It's not just what you think. The
Right.
wife is the consultant on the film.
Right.
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 So now I have to go in and let them know that if they don't block it all the way, they're probably going to block it all the way. Right. And so now I have to go in and say, if they don't block it all the way, that it's an educational piece and that is fair use, and then get it released. But if not, it's because they don't want you to know what's in this film. So February 12th,
Definitely
you
go
have
see it.
to watch it. Now, this is what I said. This was the brief review that I gave on it after we saw it, right? It was 2 days ago we watched it, a brief review. This movie is an incredible piece which sheds light on details which are not shown in documentaries produced closer to that time period. It also shows how a wife, friend, revolutionary mother, unlike Coloretta or Betty, kept the spirit of the husband Slade alive in the sun to move forward to victory. Salute to the filmmakers, writer, director, producer, cinematographer, camera 2, crew, and cast. THR Podcast Live, you found a spot. The full review this Sunday, right? Which this is what's going on right now. Listen. There's a lot of people who try to emulate the Panthers. They try to emulate Martin Luther King. They try to emulate. But when you watch films that drop the total reality, especially when one of the members were one of the closest people to him, one of the members on the advisory staff to put this film together was actually there.
Yes.
It shows me that the people are just emulating. They're not willing to take that bullet. They're not willing to take that jail time. They're not willing to do that, right? And so that's what that shows. And that's a disappointment that will come up as a warning, right? Temporarily, hopefully. Anyway, people, let's break down and talk about what the film is, right? This is unusual. It's real unusual that they would do that. Plus, I purposely turn it down so that you won't hear as much, right? So let's go through it. So cinematography on the film is a 10. The cinematography on it is a 10.
Yeah.
The character development, introducing you to the characters, introducing you to the future love interest, introducing you to the writers that were members of the Panthers, introducing you to the Judas early on. Actually, to tell you the truth, actually, I know they know that people wouldn't understand it. Daniel Kaluuya is not actually the lead of this movie, right? He's not actually the lead of this movie. Lakeith Stanfield is the lead of the movie because it's Judas and the Black Messiah. The story wraps around what the Judas did, right? But they know that most people wouldn't be able to grasp that and understand that, and so they made Daniel Kaluuya, top billing, and then they co-bill, but actually Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith Stanfield's ability to emote. I used to tell my actors when we get to the close-up, what you're saying with your mouth is one thing, but your eyes tell the audience what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I turned that in. Yeah, I turned that in last week. Yeah, sure I did. Right? It's your eyes that's telling you, and the character, your opposite, either catches on depending on how it's written in the script, or they don't, but the audience understands. Right? And so he pulls this off. He should have a supporting actor, actually lead actor, because he's actually the lead in this film. But like I said, supporting actor is good, right? Character arc. The arc of each character, from Hampton, from Fred Hampton to Willie Boy, to the Judas, excuse me. Beautifully written, and then you see the people are talking about we are the party of self-reliance and self-defense, right? You see when the time comes who stands up to that and who doesn't, right? You see who stands up to that and who doesn't, and what happens while he's away, and who steps up from the community that steps in and not necessarily went along with what he was talking about, but saw that they were true, real writers when they went up against the Chicago Police Department. Oh man, look at that. So that's what that is, right? So, you know, we're sitting up there and we're watching it, right? So we're sitting there watching it. Okay. So we're sitting up there watching it, and we say, yeah, I mean, like, this is a good film right here. So automatically, character arc, that's a 10. Storyline, through line, that's a 10. The use of location, beautifully done, that's a 10. The use of cars and clothes and all that, that's a 10, right? Music, that's a 10, right? Block through the coverage, okay. So I'm looking at the screen. I'm being distracted here because they're telling me I'm no longer blocked. They blocked it totally, so people wouldn't be able to see it. Then they freed it up, right? Okay. So anyway, going on with it. So, the use of period piece of the clothing, the cars, the location again to build the period. That is a 10.
Makeup and wardrobe,
that's a 10, right? The language used, right? There's something that Fred Hampton says, right? Have you noticed how there are people who have similar names in the society? And I don't think that's like the gospel artist Fred Hammond. Notice how that's Fred Hampton, Fred Hammond. You know, it's kind of similar, but it's not the same, and their purpose is not the same, but they are exalted up to misdirect appropriation. Okay, I remember this now. I don't even have to find it. Fred Hampton says in the piece, he says, politics, war is politics where there's no peace. Peace is politics where there's no war, but it's both politics. And how you use it and how you determine if the people truly want to be free is the people. The people determine if you're going to use politics War is politics devoid of peace. Peace is war. I mean, peace is politics devoid of war. Both are both political and politics, but it's the people that determine which one they're going to use to be free. Right? It's the people that determine which one they're going to use to be free. Right? So that's a paraphrase, right? When you see the movie, you're going to get the full of what's going on. So look, what would you rate Judas and the Black Messiah?
Definitely a 10 plus. Like if I can go higher than the 10, I definitely would. For all of the same reasons that you gave it. The film is touching. It's well done. It's a work of art, and again, like you can tell that it was the labor of love by the actors, by the director, the producers, everyone, like you said, like the camera people, just everyone behind the scene. I mean, because everything is just well executed, and then there are so many scenes, just numerous scenes, like just too many to name, where like the actors are like just on top of their game, you know, with the dialogue like going back and forth, and like what you just quoted, there are so many beautiful lines, just well written, just like words that really like hit you, like stimulating, you know, thought-provoking.
Yes, they are.
Throughout the entire film. And so, you know, you become invested in the lives of these people.
Yes.
And they are actual people, right?
Right.
So that's why, like, for me, like, watching the film, I was just, like, so broken up. And this wasn't at the end of the film. This is, like, the middle of the film. And then you remember you had to say, well, it's okay. It's okay.
I know, it's just a movie. You have to remember that we're in a different time, right? We're in a different time. All you can do is disseminate information, because the people who were uncomfortable with it, they have already fought the battle, and many of them have lost their lives. And the people who are remaining, who were from that time period, chose to be conformists and fit in, and no matter what happens to their loved ones now, they still remain conformists. Let us pray. I mean, just keep praying, and then everything will be fine. No, it's not going to be
in this film. It just it shows you that it's just so powerful. Like for it to touch me, and you know, we review tons of films, right? A lot of films, and it was beyond good. Like, this is a great film. Like I said, it's up there for me with Malcolm X, with Spike Lee's film, right? And
Panther.
Panther was good too, but for me,
it's not on this level.
But for me, this is up there. This is a work of art.
Yeah.
Like, Panther was a good film, right? But this is a work of art. Malcolm X was a work of art. Like, anytime a film can pull at your heartstrings, and I mean, it did it. So everything that the actors and the directors, the producer, everything they came to do, they did it. And it's disappointing that the Golden Globe didn't nominate any of these actors. So for me, that was some personal stuff. So for me, if you couldn't see how beautiful the art is in this film, then for me, I'm thinking, well, is it personal, right? So it's got to be personal. Because
personal bigotry.
Personal bigotry.
Right. So
because it's a work of art. Her voice is beautiful, and it's a beautiful song. But I found it quite interesting. Some of the other films that they selected, and some of the other compared to like this one. This film, I already know years from now it's going to be one of on the Turner Classic Movie Channel, and they only select classics. And this film is a classic already. I mean, just bravo, great job, Beautifully done.
Beautifully done. And before I give my rating, I have to say, I didn't really talk about the script writing. We talked about the dialogue as far as the gems that are put in it, but the script writing is not only superb, but it's superior.
Right.
The script writing, because an actor can only bring to life what's
Right.
on the page.
Right.
Right? And they work with the director to streamline
Right.
and with the director, their opposites,
Right.
and the cinematographer and how shots are going to be set up. That's the gumbo
Right.
to make their performance come out.
Right.
But what's on the page,
Right.
if what's on the page is doo-doo, then all you're going to see in the end is an actor doing the best he can with some doo-doo. But
Right.
this script writing on this
Right.
is superb. I should have started out with that, but it is superior. It is well done.
Right.
And again, for the Golden Globes, not that you should care. And that's another thing. Not that we as American black people should care what the Golden Globes
Right.
think, the foreign press
It's just
thinks.
obvious what they did.
But if you get to the end of the film, I'm just using emotion now.
Okay.
This is your emotional, if you call it heart.
Okay.
If you get to the end of the film and her song hits you,
Right.
that means that the film was good.
Bingo.
For the song to hit you, for you to nominate the song, but to not
Bingo.
nominate the script writer, the director, at least one actor, Lakeith Stanfield, if you were going to nominate somebody,
Daniel
because
Kaluuya.
his out of everybody, his
Right.
emoting on screen
Right.
makes him stand out. He should at least got a nomination for being Judas.
Right.
Right?
But the good thing about it is, well, we talked about this before last week when we reviewed American Skin, right?
And also, they gave Andrea Day.
Mm-hmm.
They gave her a nomination
Oh,
for
that's
Best
good.
Actress, right?
Okay.
So they said, well, look, we gave you a song and we gave you one actor.
They said they had to give us something.
But it's going to be.
But and we reviewed,
the Golden Globes
the government.
too white.
Oh, the government,
The
U.S.
U.S.,
government
the United
versus
States versus
Billie Holiday, American.
And American Skin.
But
yeah.
when I talked about American Skin last week, we talked about politics,
Mhm.
right? And so, as far as the politics goes, although there wasn't a Golden Globe nomination for any of the actors, what's most important is that the people resonate with the work, right? So as long as the
not resignate.
Oh, I'm getting
Resignation.
resignation.
Resonate.
Right.
Resonate.
As long as the people can resonate.
The work resonates with the people.
Right.
Right.
As long as, that's what's most important, right? If it pulls at the people's heartstrings the way it did for me, and if people come out and support the film like they did American Skin, it's all good. So, your award is how the people feel. Yeah, it's how the people feel about the
Just
film.
like what Fred
and all of the
Hampton said.
accolades.
That's
right.
what Fred Hampton said.
Right.
People decide.
Right. The people decide, not the foreign press or, please. No. So it's the people. So this is a great film. It's a great work of art. The acting is superb. The directing is superb. Great producers. The script is just well written. So, hey,
So that is a 10.
Right.
That is a 10, right?